What's up, everybody? It's your boy Richie Rich, and this is Let's Get Rolling, and we're gonna go into the Ork Relics and all of the Warlord traits. So the Orcs got a huge boost to Relics and Warlord traits in ninth edition. So we're gonna first cover all of them, and I'm gonna rank them from A to D, and then at the end I'm gonna talk about some common combinations and loadouts that we're seeing in competitive play. So let's just, without further ado, get straight into it. So first off, we got the Bad Moons, the best armor Thief can buy, and this gives a 4 plus invuln and a plus 1 to armor save. And I would give this a cool B, just because the Bad Moons culture is not being seen too often, but this is definitely not a bad trait, making your boss a lot more durable. Next up, we got the Blood Axes. I've got a plan, lads. So before rolling for turn, you can actually redeploy 3 Blood Axe units, and you can even put them in strategic reserve for free, so saving you a lot more CP. I give this a B plus. I would even say it's an A minus, as if it was after rolling for turn, then this would be insane because you could get a turn one charge out with 3 units of commandos essentially. However, I still think it still has uses, especially for things like mech guns. And with blood axes, most people are playing speedwalk, so it's nice to be able to redeploy and move things around. Next up, we got Death Skull's Opportunist. Ignore Lookout, sir, if your warlord is within 12 inches of an enemy character, and any enemy vehicle destroyed within 6 inches, you gain 1 CP. This is okay, it seems very situational. The only character that really can benefit from this, I would say, is the big mech with the teleport shooter. For that reason, I will give it a C minus. There's just a lot better traits out there, and big mechs, you don't really want to be putting them forward, being in positions where they can be essentially charged. At 12 inches, that's extremely close to a charge. Next up, we got the Evil Sun's Fasted and Use. So in the command phase, you can select one Evil Sun's core unit within 6 inches, and they can advance or fall back and still charge. So they can advance and charge or fall back and charge. This is an A. Mobility is huge in ninth edition, and making your Evil Sun's army that much faster is that much better. The Freebooter's got Killer Reputation. Enemies within 3 inches reduce leadership by 1, and they get -1 to the morale combat attrition test. Basically, when if they fail their leadership test and they have to roll to see who runs away, they get -1 to it, and which means that it's easier for things to run away. And friendly freebooters within 6 inches get +1 to leadership. Leadership is not a huge part of the meta right now, so this is a D. And there has been, actually, I don't think I've seen any competitive lists that have been doing very well using this warlord trait. Next up, we got the Goths. It is proper killy, gives +1 attack and +1 AP if you are fighting in melee. So this is a C plus. It's nice to have extra AP and melee. Definitely nice to have an extra attack. This warlord trait, however, is outshined by some other ones, so for that reason, it's only a C plus. Next up, we got the Snake Bite Surly as a squig off. On a roll of a, so when your warlord dies, you get to roll a d6, and on a 4 plus, it comes back with d3 wounds, and you also set it up not within engagement range if it was in engagement range, closest to the point as possible. You could use this to do some movement tricks. The reason that it's a C, however, is that if you use this, you cannot use the Orcs is Never Beaten, where your character basically fights on death, which makes this a bit weaker. So for that reason, this is a C. Alright, now we got the Orc generic warlord traits. First of all, we got Follow Me, lads. This warlord trait, essentially what it does is any on the same turn, if your warlord charges on that turn, any other unit that charges that same unit gets +1 to their charge roll. This is extremely situational. It's hard to implement. You need a lot of things to line up for this to work. So for that reason, I'll give it a C. Don't think it's going to see much play. Next up is Big Gob. You get +3 inches to the auras on the Warlord. This is C minus, as the only Warlord aura that you're really going to care about is the +1 to hit. This doesn't work on KFF as well, so it's pretty weak, and I don't think it's going to see much play. I think it's a D, C minus. Next up, we got Arda's Nails. Arda's Nails is great, so you get -1 to the wound roll of enemy attacks, making your boss a lot more durable. By doing that, essentially, you're making your war boss 17% more harder to wound, which is huge. So this is an A, definitely a great way to make your warlords a lot tougher. Next up, we got Brutal but Kunnin. So you can reroll all attacks that don't make it to the damage step. This is huge. So this is competitive edge for the Orks. This is an A plus. This is a great strategy. Sorry, not a stratagem, but a great warlord trait. Definitely one that you want to be putting on your killy bosses, like a Squig Hog boss, or put it on a war boss with a Kill a Claw to give it that extra oomph of punching power. Definitely the strongest offensive warlord trait. Next up, we got Cunning but Brutal. So your warlord gains fight first when it's in engagement range of enemy models. This is a B. There's another way that you can actually get fight first, and I think that way is a lot stronger than this warlord trait. And overall, just the fact that you have things like Brutal but Cunning makes this warlord trait more of a fringe use than something that we'll see like core competitive play. Next up, we have Might is Right. So you get +1 to strength and +1 to attack. This is also nice, but once again, when you have Brutal but Cunning, you can't help but compare, and in that light, Might is Right is just not as strong as Brutal but Cunning. Brutal but Cunning. Brutal but Cunning. So that is a B for me. Alright, so next up we got the Clan Relics. There are some standout relics here, and there are some not so good ones. So let's get into the Bad Moon's Relic. Bad Moon Relic, I'm not really feeling it. Although it is technically an 18 range 2d6 strength 5 flamer, because it's only AP -1 still and 1 damage, I don't think it's very relevant. You could literally just have some Burna Boys and it would have a similar damage output to the Gobshot Thunderburst. It is cool to have it at 18 inches. Maybe we'll see this play. If this was like a freebooters relic, I think we would see it played a lot more. But the fact that Bad Moons as a culture also is not too strong right now, I'll give this a C minus. Next up, we got Morgoth's Thinking Cap. You gain in your command phase, you get to roll a d6, and on a 4 plus, you get an additional command point. I give this an A minus as this is a very strong relic. You can put this on a mech, and you can just hide the mech in the back, and you can just farm command points. On average, you'll be making an additional 1.5 command points, even if you pay that CP to give that mech the thinking cap. It's A minus just because there is variance involved. So some games you may only break even on your CP. Some games you may actually lose CP and not generate any. So for that reason, I will give it a A minus. Next up, we got the Fixer Uppers on the Death Skulls. When you repair a vehicle with the Warlord with this relic, you can on a 2 plus you repair 1 additional wound. And you pick an enemy vehicle within 12 inches, and that enemy vehicle suffers D3 mortal wounds. Interesting concept. I do like this sort of. It's more of a. It's a lot of fun. The design I see is really cool too. It's like really vehicle centric. I feel like if this was something that affected just your own vehicles, like maybe you repair 1 additional wound on your vehicle, and then, like it, I don't know, it repairs again another vehicle. But just the fact that it has to repair your vehicle and then you have to also target an enemy, I think it's going to be hard to actually get both of the activations to go off in the same turn. And for that reason, I don't think this is a strong enough relic that's going to see competitive play. People barely take mechs to repair vehicles as is, as in the meta, there's a lot of stuff that can blow up your vehicles one turn. Next up, we got Res Mecha's Redder Armor. So this, you get a +2 inch of movement, and enemies within engagement range fight last. This is very strong because not only are you getting rid of, not only is it helping yourself, but it's also helping the other units in your army. Your Warlord with this trait moves up, he gets an engagement range, he could probably tag a couple of units if it's a boss on a Squigosaur or even a Deathkiller War Trike, and then the rest of your army could just come in and this can negate some of that nastiness that a lot of armies have. Or you could even charge into an enemy unit that is currently engaged with your units, and that way your units can swing first before the enemy can. So this is definitely an A+. Next up, we got the Freebooters Bad Skull Bana. This is a great relic. Enemies within 6 inches lose OBSEC. That's huge in this edition. This is awesome. Given the fact that Freebooters can also spend 1 CP to give their own infantry OBSEC, this makes it extremely powerful at stealing primaries. Next up, we got the Iron Gob. So before consolidation after fighting, 1 enemy suffers D3 mortal wounds on a 2 plus. So it's like a ramming speed that happens during the fighting phase. This is a B, as it's always nice to as a way to deal mortals. Next up, we got Brog's Buzz Bomb. So it's like a super grenade, 3d6, strength 6, AP minus 1, 1 damage. Now this actually always hits on a 2 plus. The reason I put hits on a 6 plus is I don't even know I put that. It doesn't hit on a 6 plus. It always hits on a 2 plus, so ignore that. And it deals 1 mortal wound after it goes off to each unit within 6 inches of the bearer. I believe that goes off no matter what. Let me just confirm there. Yeah, so even if you don't hit anything, it always deals 1 mortal wounds to each unit within 6 inches of the bearer. Now keep in mind, not only is this for the enemy, but also your units. So this is going to be a lot of mortal wounds. Alright, so now we got the Ork generic relics. Interestingly enough, they don't have Beast Naga or Speed Freaks relics. They just have the Ork generic relics. So we'll jump right into them. So first off, we got the Beast Hide Mantle, and this is one of the strongest relics that you could get. Now, this can only be taken by a... Let me just confirm, but yeah, this can only be taken by a Beast Naga model, and what it does is you add 1 to the attack, and you get a 5 plus Feel No Pain. That's really strong. So you're increasing its durability even more, especially if you put this on your boss on Squigosaur. That thing is going to become a beast. Beast Hide Mantle, if you're running a boss on Squigosaur, it is a must take. It's an A+. Next up, we have the Dead Shiny Shooter. So it's a range 18, DACA 14, 10. So 14 shots in DACA range, 10 shots when not. Strength 5, AP 1. And it's 2 damage, actually. I think the Dead Shiny Shooter is a decent relic. It is something that you could put on a big mech and brap at some things. Especially if you're playing freebooters, you definitely want all of your army to have full brapping potential. Only negative, I guess, is that if you're going to kit out your big mech to be fully brapping, then it's not going to have the custom force field. Or you could just run a Dead Shiny Shooter and run a custom force field instead of the Teleporter Blaster. I would say this is a B, maybe even a B+. I think we may see some more use out of this, especially that it's damage 2, as the meta develops and people find out cool things to do. Next up, we have the Killer Claw. So the Killer Claw is it's the Killer Claw. It's that claw that we all love. Double your strength, AP 4, damage 3. The one thing it did lose is the re-rolling the wounds, which actually kind of makes me sad. Oh, sorry, it wasn't re-rolling wounds, it was re-rolling hits. So re-rolling the hits, that makes me kind of sad. But now that we have essentially Brutal but Cunning, we can combine this with the Killer Claw and make our war boss extremely strong. Now the thing is that the boss in Mega Armor does not have the ability to take the Killer Claw, nor does the Beast boss, nor does the boss on Squigosaur. I think that was intentional, so the only thing that can take the Killer Claw is the war boss on Warbike or the regular foot boss. D3 damage is very good because a lot of things, as I said, have -1 to damage. So being able to have a way to go from a way to deal at least 2 damage is really big right now. So Killer Claw is an extremely strong relic, and it is an A for sure. Next up, we got the Crushing Armor. So you get 4 plus invulnerable and 1 plus to saving throws. After charging, enemies within 1 inch actually take D3 mortal wounds on a 2 plus. I give this a B plus, even a A minus. This is hindered by the fact that you can only take it on a Mega Armor boss, but you're making your Mega Armor boss extremely durable. You're giving him a 4 plus invulnerable save, and now he has a 1 plus armor save, which is huge. Plus, you get to deal those mortal wounds on a 2 plus. It's always nice to deal mortal wounds. For those reasons, I give this a B plus. Next up, we have Head Wappa's Kill Choppa. So Head Wappa's Kill Choppa, it's nice. It's doubling your strength, and you've got AP 3, 2 damage, and wound rolls of 6 actually inflict a mortal wound. Using this with Brutal but Cunning would be pretty nasty as well, as it's increasing your chances of rolling a 6 on wound to get that extra mortal wound. This is a great relic, and I'll definitely give this a B+. Next up is Scorched Git Bones. You get +1 to Witch Fire Psychic Test, and you get a 4 plus Feel No Pain on Perils of the Warp. Now this one I gave a C because while it is the only way now to increase your Psyker's reliability, it only works on Witch Fires. The 4 plus Feel No Pain is not bad, but again, since the Psyker lost the way to boost up their rolls, it's not as relevant. You're not going to be doing perils as often as you would before. So for those reasons, I put this as a C. Next up, we got Super Cyborg Body. So 4 plus invulnerable save, and you have the damage of attacks. This is pretty good. I gave this an A. It only works on infantry, so you can only take it on your mechs, your bosses. You can put it on your mega armor bosses, though. You can't put it on the Squigosaur. If you could put this on the Squigosaur, that would be pretty insane. Overall, a solid way to increase the durability of your characters, especially having the damage of attacks. That is absolutely huge. All right, so we went through all that, and now we get to the fun part, which is some of the cool combos that we've been seeing in competitive play. So the most common loadout that people give their boss on Squigosaur is the Beast Hide Mantle and the Ard as Nails. So Ard as Nails and Beast Hide Mantle makes your boss extremely durable. Now your opponent's gonna be having -1 to wound. The boss innately has -1 damage, and now you have a 5-up Feel No Pain and a 5-up Invulnerable Save. This is nuts. Okay, this is gonna give your opponents a bad time. Plus, you get a additional attack. That that Squigosaur is looking more like a Tyrannosaur, if you know what I'm saying. Next up, we got the Killer Claw and Brutal Bug Kunnin. This is the loadout that Rich Kilton likes to use in his Evil Sun's army. So this makes your war boss an absolute monster in combat. Now that the war boss also has a 5 plus invulnerable save, it's nice because you don't have to worry about taking a trait that's too defensive, as your regular boss already has some built-in defense. On your Warbiker boss, that War Boss on Warbike becomes an absolute missile. So now you can basically launch him at anything. He has a huge threat range, and he's like an assassin, a melee assassin. He can get there and just crump the heck out of anything in melee. Only issue with giving this to on your War Boss on Warbike is, as of now, the War Boss on Warbike does not have an invulnerable save, so it does make him squishy, but it makes him extremely killy and a huge threat for your opponents. Next up, we got Head Wappa's Kill Choppa and Brutal Bug Kunnin. This is being used a lot on the Mega Armor bosses or your Squig bosses since they cannot take the Killer Claw. So giving them Head Wappa's Kill Choppa is the only way to increase their damage output, as you can't replace it with the Killer Claw. So you got to replace it with the Head Wappa Kill Choppa. And giving it Brutal Bug Kunnin, like I said before, increases your chance to deal mortal wounds, which is always nice. Like I mentioned, giving the Morgok Thinking Cap on a mech is very popular right now. You just give it to your mech and he hides in the back and he farms CP for you. It's awesome to do because we love that CP. We love our command points. And Orks, we don't really get a lot of command points. So having additional command points per game is definitely a big plus for the Ork armies. Even though our stratagems are not that strong, you could always use it for rerolls, which is a good time. Alright, this is a fun one that someone posted in Facebook. It's the best armor Thief can buy plus the crushing armor. So this gives a ludicrous 0 plus save on a mega armor character. So if you give this to a Bad Moon's boss in mega armor, he now has a 0 plus save, which means that you need a -3 AP for him to go to a 3 plus save. I think this is hilarious. I would love to see someone use this in a competitive game and just make one of the most durable war bosses ever to be alive. So that's it for all the relics and the warlord traits. Thanks everybody for watching. Smash that like button. Please subscribe if you can. I love all the support that everyone's given me so far. It really means a lot to me. I would also love to see your comments on any crazy strategies with relics and warlord traits that you can think of, especially when you combine them with other things like the custom jobs that some people can take. So thanks for watching. As always, y'all stay safe out there and keep those dice rolling.